I'm down to one crutch now, 4 weeks post ankle surgery, which is half as many crutches as I had yesterday, so mad improvement. This video, by the way, is sponsored by Squarespace. For marketing tools to analytics, if you want to go online and build a website, Squarespace is absolutely, no doubt, the platform for you to do so. So it's been hard to make videos on this channel because I can't ride. Been building Woburn Bike Park, which is amazing. But I get a lot of comments all year about like, what bike should I get? What's the best bike for dirt jumps? What bike do I learn backflips on? What bike should I get? And I never really make videos like that. So I thought I'm gonna make a video about my favorite bikes. And I think from that, because I've had a lot of experience with different bikes, you'll be able to understand what type of bike is most appropriate for you. And I think that's important now, because if I take it back 20 years, I liked riding dirt jumps. But when I got into it, there was only dirt jump bikes and downhill bikes, you know? That was the two jobs. There was cross-country bikes, and hardtails have been in the background, but I've never been a fan of cross-country. So you either had a dirt jump bike to do dirt jumps or a downhill bike to do downhill. That was it. It was easy. You had two interests and two different bikes. Now it's insane. There's trail bikes, enduro bikes, e-bikes, mullets, 27-inch wheels, 29-inch wheels. It's like honestly ridiculous now. I feel sorry for people getting into the sport. So I'm going to kind of dive in and explain a bit of stuff. So 9 years ago, I started working with Marin, and they didn't have a dirt jump bike at the time, so I had to design one with them. All of the iterations of the Alcatraz, the bike we designed, are up there. It's been a game-changing bike for me in my career. And when we I'm actually going to ditch the crutch. I reckon I can do it. Oh, it feels good. It doesn't feel good, but it's exciting. Dirt jump bikes are actually now a specialist bike, aren't they? Because there's so many bikes in between that if you want to do just dirt jumps, that's like the fringe, that's the extreme. So when we started designing a dirt jump bike, I wanted the most specialist one possible. And for me, that means it needs to be short, compact, and really agile, like the fighter jet of dirt jump bikes, because I wanted to learn tricks, right? So that is very, very short. It's got a 1083mm wheelbase, so it's only just over a metre long from where the tyres touch the ground. It's got a steep 69-degree head angle. It's got, I think, a 385mm chainstay. That's a really short, compact bike. And that is so important for dirt jumping, which is a specialist thing, because on that I can rip a skate park, can double flip a jump box, you know, I learned small 720s, small 360 tail whips, but it actually felt stable enough on the huge Crankworx courses. So the Alcatraz is like really one of my favorite bikes and the perfect gateway to dirt jumps. They do a long version for taller people, but I always say if you're doing dirt jumps, you want the most specialist thing, get the short one. And they also do a 24-inch version now too, for youngsters or like proper core lord 24-inch, like they're the OGs really. That's the bikes I started on. So the Alcatraz is way up there and it's specialist. So we'll get to the other hardtail in a minute. Like that is gonna be the exception to the rule of everything. But next, I want to talk about the Rift Zone. This bike is really special to me. The Rift Zone's the bike I jump my house on. But if you're not doing dirt jumps and don't want to do bar spins and tail whips, and you want to pedal and ride sick stuff and rip berms and have so much fun, Marin made the Rift Zone for you. So there's the Rift Zone 1, the Rift Zone 2, and the Rift Zone XR. This is the XR, it's full aluminium. They're like, I mean, all these bikes are expensive, but Marin like really get the cost right of stuff, I think. And I can't believe that I've ended up loving a 29-inch bike so much. I used to be actually against 29ers. I used to think that when I land, I was going to sit on the tyre. It sometimes happened. I used to think they weren't as playful and weren't as manoeuvrable in corners. And now I just realise it's bizarre. Out of all the bikes in this room, they're all 29, other than the dirt jump bike. I don't even have, like right now, a 27.5-inch wheel bike, which is crazy. So clearly 29ers are feeling better than ever. And I think they're like, I mean, you can buy this in 27.5. My stepson River's got a 27.5-inch Rift Zone, but I love this one. So this bike I built up this year. It was the first time I got all of the Shimano XTR wireless electric drivetrain. Listen. Sick. How good is that? This is beautiful. It's by far the most beautiful bike I've ever built. Everything matches. But if you want to pedal up and downhill, you know, if you want to be able to climb and have enough suspension to really soak up bumps, but be super playful, and you don't have an uplift, you don't have a chairlift, a gondola, this 100% is the bike. You don't need a full, big, heavy enduro bike. I don't really see where enduro bikes fit in now, because trail bikes are becoming so much more of like a weapon. They're like, this is like a proper Swiss Army bike, really. Which brings me on to the San Quentin. We'll get to my downhill bike, because it's not the ordinary downhill bike. But the San Quentin absolutely does everything and ticks every single box. just like building a website using Squarespace. There's so many tools available for you. There's AI templates. You just type in what you want your website to do, and it will basically design it for you. You can choose your domain name at the point of building the website. You can link all your social media channels to drag all of those potential consumers into your Squarespace site where you can have e-commerce linked up. You can have appointments and calendars. I always wanted to be a masseuse, and I damn well need one right now. You could build a perfect masseuse massage website with those appointment features. I've got a 14-day free trial in the link in my description below. I mean, you could build a website in a morning in a cafe with Squarespace. 14 days is loads of time. And a discount code, Matt Jones, to save 10% on your first purchase, which could be the domain name, you know? Couldn't recommend it more right now. So, the San Quentin. This is a San Quentin 29er, by the way. Again, I never thought I'd have a 29-inch hardtail when I designed a 26-inch one for dirt jumps, but this bike literally does everything. I designed this with Marin. Originally, it was 27.5, and we wanted an aggressive hardtail that does everything, and we thought we could actually achieve that. I've always been a big advocate for hardtails. They're a very important bike to learn your skills, to learn how to build a partnership with a bike. Well, you don't want suspension to do all the work. You need to learn how to do it yourself. You're the rider, you're in control. Don't be a passenger to a complex bike. Learn to get on top of it and control it. And I think we proved that with this. This is really, really impressive. It's got a 64-degree head angle, which is very slack, but still quite a short chainstay. I think it's 425 mil chainstay, so only 4 centimeters longer than that, with a big 29-inch wheel in it. But it just works. The slack head angle means that you can ride this down really steep slopes and still have control. The short rear end, I think, makes it really playful. It's easy to wheelie, to corner. You can mullet it. They do a 27.5 version. They do the San Quentin 1, 2, and 3. This is the highest spec one. This is stock San Quentin 3. Needs a clean. But if you want a bike, if you want one bike, and occasionally you might go to Wales and ride down really bumpy stuff, this will do it. Especially if you get tyre inserts and run low pressure, you can kind of make a hardtail feel a bit like a trail bike. That's a hack. But if you want efficient pedaling, if you want to be able to climb, if you want to be able to bunny hop, ride a pump track with your kid, if you want to be able that is the bike. If I could only have one bike in the whole world, it was always a dirt jump bike, but now it would probably be a San Quentin, because there would never be a scenario where I'm completely out of the picture. You know, it excels at almost everything. I think that's a really important bike to mention, you know. And if you're in the market for a bike, you know, I think it has to be a hardtail. That's how you learn to ride. I say that to all the kids. What full bike, what downhill bike should I get? Don't get a downhill bike. You're 11, what are you on about? Get a hardtail and learn the proper way and build skills. So we've got the specialist end there, which is doing tricks and only tricks, because any more and you'd get that. You've got the more comfy, long distance bike that works really well downhill. And then you've got downhill bikes, which is the other extreme. Downhill bikes now only do that. You can't pedal one uphill. You'd barely want to pedal it along the flat. You wouldn't even want to ride a downhill bike to the shops, and it wouldn't work around a pump track. So why'd you buy a downhill bike? Well, it's if you've got an uplift, gondola, chairlift, or a means to just ride really, really long descents. And Marin didn't make one for years, okay? We did the San Quentin, we worked on the Alcatraz. I didn't actually own a downhill bike for 5 or 6 years, because Marin bikes are made for fun. They're not made to win World Cup downhill races. Marin won't work with Ronan Dunn to win hardline, because we just want to make the most fun bikes for the core, you know. So that we didn't need a downhill bike, because it's the other extreme, and I wasn't sponsored as a downhill rider. But what became relevant and important is that downhill bikes can actually just be pure fun, you know. So this has only got 180 mil of rear travel, not 200 like a lot of them. You can still put a 200 fork on it. It's got flip chips, so you can run it as a mullet, you can run it as a 29, you can run it as a 27.5. It's very versatile in that way, but this just feels so fun and playful. It's the ultimate bike park machine for Dovey in the UK, Bike Park Wales maybe. It might even be a bit, you know, you could actually take that to Bike Park Wales. But in Whistler, where we launched this bike, it is just the most fun bike. It will never go as fast, top to bottom, as whatever the top guys are riding, you know. The Mondrakers Specialized, but those bikes don't even feel good to ride. They're just made to go really, really fast and shave 6/10 off your time. Who actually cares about that? Like, I can still do both Red Bull hardlines on this, but then I was able to carry more speed than everyone to flip the last in Tasmania. Like, I did Darkfest on the 27.5 one, did a flip Superman on it. You can't do that on a proper downhill bike, doesn't work. So like, we've literally nailed it. That bike has done all of the big events, from free ride, the biggest jump in the world, 110 footer. I jumped the ravine gap on it, I jumped through 2 moving trucks on it, and it's fun. So although like I've just stood here and like raved about this bike, I've now finally have a downhill bike, but it's like a bike park one, you know? And that for me is like the most fun you can have with a bike like this. This was my hardline machine. I found that having a larger bike made a massive difference for like big, cumbersome, heavy hits, rocks and things. But I always think I honestly say to people, get a bike that's slightly smaller than what you actually need, because you're going to have more fun on it. But for hardline and things, it was this Quake. So if you're in the market for your first bike, buy a hardtail. If you're looking for a downhill bike, but you're not only want to be a racer, you want to do fat whips and maybe do suicide and handers and tricks, get a Quake. If you're just into doing tricks and only tricks and just want to do bunny hop bar spins, but don't want to venture out wider and do some drops and you want one brake, it's a dirt jump bike. But otherwise, I'd say my 2 favourite bikes are actually those 2. Yeah, I can't believe I'm taking the Alcatraz out of it. But biking for me has become way more about where you go, who you do it with. I will always have a place on the trails no matter where we are. So yeah, it's a confusing world out there with bikes now, and there's so much choice. Bike shops will always help. I mean, you can actually, for £30, buy Mavericks on console end of January and have that exact Quake in there and jump through 2 trucks. So for an extra 30 quid, you could have 2 bikes in it. Yeah, it's difficult. It's mad, like my story, that all these bikes have been ridden and for different purposes. But it's just funny looking back at how it used to be. There was 2 types of bike, and now there's so many, and it's impossible to navigate. But hopefully that is kind of useful for you to understand my view, and that's only my view. But I don't really find myself riding enduro bikes anymore, like 160mm travel, 170mm travel bikes. It's a bit too heavy. It's a bit too much of like a rocket launcher in a knife fight, you know? I've never, ever landed anything on 180mm of travel and thought I needed more. I did 110-foot jump on one of these. That's just food for thought. Bigger ain't always better. Legends.